Hello and welcome. Today we're going to embark on a journey that might just reshape how you see absolutely everything. We're going to explore a vision of the universe not as a collection of separate things, but as one single, magnificent, interconnected symphony. So, let's just start with a really big question, one that gets right to the heart of it all. What if everything you think of as solid and real, the chair you're in, the screen you're looking at, even your own body, what if none of it is actually made of things? What if it's all just a pattern, a vibration, a dance happening in one single universal field? In this explainer, we're diving deep into a truly radical framework, one that sees all of reality as a self-organizing, resonant system. It's a bold idea for sure. It's a perspective where the line between the physical world out there and the conscious observer, that's you, well, that line begins to blur and dissolve, because they both spring from the very same source. So let's get into it. Okay, so what's the foundation of this resonant universe? Well, the theory proposes that the fundamental stuff of reality, the very fabric of existence, is something called the scalar tension field. I want you to think of this field like a vast cosmic ocean. It's not empty space with things in it. It is space, and it is everything in it. Every particle, every force, every single star, it's all just an emergent pattern. It's a wave, a ripple, a vortex in this one universal medium. See, in this view, there are no separate parts, only different patterns of tension and resonance. And this right here, this is the core shift in thinking. There are no tiny little billiard balls colliding with each other. Nope. There are only waves interacting with other waves. An interaction is just what happens when two different vibrational patterns find each other and lock into a beautiful, resonant harmony. It's a universe with no particles, no forces. It's all purely relational. So, if everything is just a wave in a field, how in the world does that create the incredible, complex structure we see all around us, from tiny atoms to massive galaxies? Well, the answer, believe it or not, lies in a remarkably simple and elegant geometric process. It all starts with the most basic relationship you can have, tension between 2 points. The field, by its very nature, wants to resolve that tension, and the most efficient way to do that is to spiral. And then those spirals stabilize themselves by curling back on themselves, creating these incredibly stable, self-sustaining, donut-shaped energy forms we call toroids. It's just the natural geometry of flow in the universe. And what's absolutely fascinating is how this very physical process of spiraling energy maps perfectly onto these ancient geometric patterns. You see it right here. A single point of vibration expands out, forming a hexagonal pattern. That then expands into what's known as the fruit of life, 12 circles perfectly arranged around a central one. Now, this isn't just mysticism. It's the pure language of wave physics. That structure of 12 around 1 gives you the fundamental blueprint for vortex dynamics at every single scale you can imagine, from the subquantum to the galactic. It's the 2D map for a perfectly stable 3D standing wave. So we have this geometric blueprint. But how does that build the tangible world we actually experience? How do these resonant patterns become what we call matter? Okay, this is where the old paradigm gets turned on its head. The standard model of physics gives us this whole zoo of different fundamental particles and forces. But in the resonance framework, all of that stuff is just an emergent effect. A particle is simply a stable, localized spiral, like a tiny, persistent knot of vibration. A force, like gravity, isn't a force at all. It's just a large-scale slope or gradient in the tension of the field itself. And what we call empty space, it's anything but empty. It's the field itself, absolutely teeming with potential. And this is such a crucial point to grasp. Space isn't an empty box that things move around inside of. Space is actually the relationship between those resonant things. Think about it. The membrane of a cell, the crust of a planet, the shells of an atom's electrons. These are the resonant boundaries. We only perceive space because of the contrast between these stable zones of resonance. It's an illusion, really, born entirely out of relationship. And now we arrive at the most profound, the most mind-bending part of this whole theory. What about us? What is consciousness in a universe that's made entirely of vibration? Well, it turns out it's not some ghost in the machine. It is an active and absolutely essential part of the system. Now, don't be intimidated by the equation. The math here is actually beautiful in its simplicity. You should think of it more like a piece of poetry. It says that the self, represented by that symbol psi, is defined by a loop. The self is the sum total of itself observing itself. In other words, the very act of you being aware of yourself is what creates and sustains the structure of you. Just imagine for a moment that you are at the center of your own resonant bubble. Your awareness, your thoughts, your very presence, it's all continuously reinforcing the structure of that bubble, and that bubble in turn is defining your reality. You are, quite literally, a self-sustaining, standing wave. You are not a passive witness looking at the universe. Your awareness is a feedback loop that is actively participating in co-creating it, moment by moment. Okay, so let's zoom all the way out. If this principle of resonance applies to tiny particles and to our own consciousness, does it also apply to the entire cosmos? The answer is a huge, resounding yes. This framework offers these elegant new perspectives on some of the biggest mysteries in cosmology. Just look at this table. Gravity isn't some mysterious force caused by mass-bending spacetime. It's simply a large-scale tension in the field. Those beautiful galactic spirals? They are the visible patterns of immense toroidal energy flows. And dark matter? What if it isn't some missing stuff at all? What if it's just the lingering resonance of the field itself? A kind of cosmic echo, a standing wave left over from past events. What this all paints is a picture of the universe as a living, breathing, self-healing system. It's a geometrically closed system, so when a knot or a disturbance forms in one little area, the entire web responds, using these nested spiral dynamics to restore balance and flow. It is in a constant state of dynamic equilibrium, always seeking harmony. So after this journey from the subatomic all the way to the cosmic, what is the one crucial point to take away from this entire framework? What does it all mean? Well, the takeaway is this. There's only one thing, this universal field of resonance, and absolutely everything, from the smallest speck of dust to the largest galaxy, from a fleeting thought to the very feeling of being alive, it's all just a pattern, a song, a resonance within that one single field. We aren't separate from it. We are it, having an experience of itself. And that leaves us with one final, profound thought to sit with. If this vision of reality is true, if we are truly nodes of awareness inside a single, vibrating, self-aware universe, then what kind of music are we choosing to create? What is our unique note in this grand cosmic symphony?